Today, the internet's focus on self-disclosure has made personal branding a must-have for anyone concerned with the future of their career. From CEO to secretary, the message is clear. If you don't define your personal brand, someone else will define it for you. The goal of this course is to help you create a solid foundation for your personal brand on social media. I'm Karen Leland, a branding and marketing strategist and implementer. I work with entrepreneurs, executives, and CEOs to develop stronger personal, business, and team brands. I'm also the best-selling author of 9 business books. In this course, you'll learn the best practices for personal branding on social media, including how to create your personal brand for the top social media sites of LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and Pinterest, the key factors that make your profile picture and online bio stand out, and the biggest changes that have occurred in marketing and branding that you must be aware of to manage your career now and in the future. Let's get started on making your personal brand shine on social media. This course requires no advanced or special knowledge of how to technically use specific social media tools. It does, however, require that you have a sincere desire to make your online personal brand as strong as possible. The types of people who can benefit from a strong presence on social media and this course include entrepreneurs, CEOs, executives, startup founders, job seekers, and aspiring thought leaders. You have access to the exercise files for this course. I've included some activities and examples for the various ideas you'll learn about for personal branding on social media. These files will help you to apply what you are learning throughout the course. The most successful individuals today have set their sights on developing their personal brands over time. As a branding and marketing consultant, I've observed 3 shifts that everyone who wants to build a personal brand via social media needs to be aware of. The first shift is from the lucky few to the persistent many. In the past, if you were fortunate enough to get written about in the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, or appear on a major news program or TV talk show, you could consider yourself having arrived. Today, social media has leveled the playing field, and if you're consistent in building your personal brand, you too can reap the rewards. It doesn't take a big, complicated effort, but it does require a persistent approach to promotion. Before, you used to put yourself out there and hope the media found you. Now you become known in your field of expertise and journalists come looking for you. This new mindset is all about how your efforts put the power of being known within your reach. The next shift moves from the big stick to small and targeted. Today, success doesn't hinge on a few hot hits to a huge audience, but on hundreds of smaller ones targeted to the right users for your brand. For many people, it's difficult to shift since the allure of the most popular, biggest, and most well-known media outlets is so deeply ingrained. I recently had a conversation with a potential client who wanted blog reviews for her new product launch only if their social media had 10,000 followers or more on their sites, receiving monthly hits numbering in the millions. She didn't realize that a blog that gets 10,000 hits a month but targets her perfect audience through posts on Facebook or Twitter was worth far more than a blog whose audience wasn't on the mark. Finding the right audience, small and targeted, instead of going for the one with the biggest viewers, the big stick, can make all the difference. The last shift is from a sprint to a marathon. A potential client recently asked, "How many new customers can I expect to get if we put out this press release?" I told them that's the wrong question. The value of the release can't and shouldn't be measured by short-term results. Press releases, social media, blogging, and other content marketing activities are about the persistent, ongoing process, a marathon, of building your personal and business brand. They're not about a quick sprint towards a short-term outcome. Here's an example from my own business. Years ago, I wrote a marketing article for the Huffington Post. I wasn't paid to write it, but it set off a chain of connections via referrals and social media that within a year had led to new business and new friendships, all from one 800-word blog post written for free. The point of this story is that we're so focused on trying to measure the immediate return we get on a single branding activity that we're missing out on the power of the long-term impact of all these actions. Despite the vast number of studies and statistics showing that social media has a positive impact on building a brand, many business people still don't really know what social media can do for them or how to best use it to build their personal and business brands. In general, there are 3 specific ways that almost everyone can benefit from social media. The first is enhanced brand recognition and thought leadership. It's simple. The more frequently you show up on social media, the greater your brand exposure and the more recognizable and credible you and your business become. For example, I received a call from a writer at fastcompany.com who was working on a piece about personal branding. When I asked him where he found me, he said he Googled the term and a whole slew of my content, including blog posts, articles, videos, tweets, and Facebook posts, etc., consistently came up. Seeing my name one time on personal and business branding put me on his radar. Seeing my name dozens of times made me more of a thought leader. Once the piece was published, I gained several new clients as a result of his blog post. The second benefit is increased trust through leveraged credibility. Let's say a major blogger in your industry tweets a post you have written or promotes you on their Facebook page. What this says about your brand is that they have enough trust in your expertise to put their brand behind yours. That's leveraged credibility, and it helps to create the kind of trust necessary for personal brand success. One study from Mext Consulting showed that if consumers trust a brand, 83% will recommend it, 82% will use its products and services frequently, and 78% will look to it first for the thing they want. The third social media marketing benefit for your brand is that it gives you a competitive advantage. Let's say a potential customer has narrowed the field down to you and one competitor. If you have an active and quality social media presence, be it a blog, Pinterest, LinkedIn, or other, and your competitor has a weak social media presence, which brand do you think is going to catch their attention? And the answer is the one with the more engaged social media. While this might not be the only criteria that will factor into their choice, we know that social media does influence customers' decision-making. One study from the ODM Group showed that 74% of consumers rely on social networks to guide purchase decisions. While spiffy social media is not an if you build it they will come proposition, it is one of the ways that you can immediately impact your personal brand. Understanding how you personally would benefit from participating in social media and coming up with a strategy for how to make the most of it is key to building your personal brand. Check out the exercise file and then take a few minutes to consider what social media can do for your brand and business. Many people today have a bad case of FOMO when it comes to social media. FOMO, or fear of missing out, drives us nuts as we try to be on all social media platforms all the times. And every time a new hot site pops up, we feel even more pressure to participate. Let me relieve you of that burden right now. Unless you're a Fortune 500 company or inherited some really serious coin, you don't have the time or resources to actively pursue all social media. Creating your best personal brand on social media means choosing the 1 or 2 channels, 3 if you're an overachiever, that fit the best. And while you may want to have a presence on a multitude of social media platforms, I'm suggesting that you choose the 1 or 2 that you can commit to focusing on. Here's a brief overview of the top 4 social media sites. LinkedIn. In the business-to-business space, LinkedIn is the #1 player in its field. Much of the activity on LinkedIn is around IT services, financial services, computer software, and the telecommunications space. In addition, 82% of LinkedIn users are 35 years or older. 44% of the users earn $75,000 or more a year. And 62% of B2B marketers consider LinkedIn an effective marketing tool. Twitter. If you're an expert in anything from bird watching to Bollywood dancing and have lots of content that can be broken down into 140 character bits of information, Twitter could be the ideal social media site for you. Consider this. 37% of the people on Twitter are between 18 and 29 years old. In fact, only 10% of Twitter users are 65 years or older, and 27% make an income of $75,000 a year or more. Facebook. If LinkedIn is the big dog of B2B, then Facebook is the leader in business to consumer. Do you want your brand to reach the end user? If so, Facebook could be your best bet. 66% of 15 to 34-year-olds are on Facebook. 18% of the users are 55 years or older, and 58% of users are female. Do you have a brand that translates well into pictures? If so, Pinterest could be a goldmine for you. Women between the ages of 25 and 54 years old make up 80% of the site's users. The most popular topics on Pinterest are home, arts and crafts, food, women's fashion, inspiration, and how-to. While Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Pinterest may be the top 4 social media sites, they are followed by such up-and-coming stars as Google+, Tumblr, and Instagram. The statistics mentioned here are just a sample of each social media site. Start by narrowing down the field to 4 or 5 sites that you like, and then do your homework to determine the best ones to build your personal brand. Regardless of which social media platform you plan on using, having a profile picture is an expected standard. If you're one of those people who thinks it doesn't matter, think again. By some accounts, social media profiles with pics are 7 times more likely to be viewed than those without. In addition, one study published in Psychological Science reported that it took less than a second for a viewer to draw conclusions about a person based on their photo. Your online brand is best served when your profile picture is consistent across all social media platforms and adheres to the following 5 best practices. First, you need an up-to-date photo of a real person. I know one CEO who thought it was a good idea to make his social media pic, are you ready for this? A troll doll. While that might be cute at first glance, in terms of creating a powerful personal brand on social media, your best bet is a professional, reasonably current headshot photo. Please, no avatars, cartoon characters, pictures of your dog Biffy, or troll dolls. One exception to this rule, if your brand is artistically wacky, you might have a little wiggle room here and can get away with something more unconventional. However, in general, a photo of the real you is your personal brand best bet. And while we're on the subject of the real you, if you find yourself showing up in person only to be told, "Wow, you look so different in real life," your profile pic needs to be adjusted. A contemporary, up-to-date, current headshot within the last 2 years or so is essential. Next, be sure to smile and show your teeth. According to an article in the Journal of Psychological Science, a profile picture where you are facing forward and smiling, teeth front and center, helps make a good first impression. In another study from the website Photo Feeler, a smile with teeth visible increases the perception of competence, likability, and influence. A closed-mouth smile, however, had about half the impact on likability, and showing too much teeth, for example a laughing smile, increased likability but reduced perceived competence and influence. Next, make sure to frame up your head and shoulders. Just how much of you should you show in a profile pic? The study seemed to suggest that a photo featuring your head and shoulders or head to waist makes the best impression. Interestingly enough, face-only close-ups were seen as less likable, and full-body photos had a negative impact on how capable and influential someone was seen as being. Here's another bit of advice. Ditch the sunglasses. One study from the website Photo Feeler looked at perceived competence, likability, and influence based on profile pics. One finding was that wearing sunglasses in profile pictures lowers the wearer's likability score. When it comes to your photo, the eyes really are the window to the soul. And last, dress the best for your personal brand. While certain studies show that a more formal dress conveys greater competence and professionalism, your personal brand, industry, and audience should be the driving factor in what you choose to wear in a profile picture. For example, own a surf shop? A Hawaiian shirt would be more on brand than a jacket and tie. Are you a VP for a startup in Silicon Valley? Hip jeans and a jacket might just do the trick. Perhaps you're a CEO from an entertainment company. A contemporary dress, not too corporate, but businesslike with a twist, would offer the right visual brand message. Your profile picture may seem like a simple thing, but it's really the first glimpse a visitor to your social media site gets of your personal brand. So make it a good one. Your profile picture, logo, or other visuals may make the first impression, but it's your profile bio that often inspires a visitor to dig deeper. Poorly written profiles can stop a potential customer or employer in their tracks. On the other hand, a well-written social media bio can help bring you new business and opportunities. A well-branded social media bio gives an immediate feel for your personal brand. There are 5 things to consider when crafting a bio for your social media profiles. The first is to maximize your character count. I remember one gentleman who called me up looking for some personal branding consulting. I reviewed his LinkedIn profile summary and saw a single sentence that weakly declared, "Yes, I'm a freelancer who works for myself to help others with my skills." I don't know about you, but I wouldn't be inspired by this to read any further, let alone hire this person. While what he wrote was arguably efficient and true, it provided no real sense of who he was or why he might be worth a further look. One personal branding best practice when it comes to a social media bio is to take advantage of all the space provided. For example, LinkedIn has a 120-character limit for professional headlines and a 2,000-character limit for the summary. Twitter and Pinterest each enforce a 160-character limit for a bio. For other social media sites, simply Google character limit for name of site, and within a few clicks, you should have what you need. Once you know what the character limits are, you can pre-write your bio in a Word doc, check the counts, and make sure it says what you want and fits before entering it into the social media site. Number 2, be specific, not general. Writers have a saying, show, don't tell. In other words, don't just make a pronouncement about how great you are in your social media bio. For example, I'm a creative manager. I'm an experienced executive. I'm a successful serial entrepreneur. Instead, provide the details that lead the reader to that conclusion themselves. Instead of, I'm a creative manager, say, I own 5 patents. Instead of, I'm an experienced executive, say, I've been VP at XYZ company for the past 10 years. Instead of, I'm a successful serial entrepreneur, say, I've founded and sold 3 startups. The key to showing is to give specific examples of what you have done, lay out facts and figures, provide numbers, and quantify what you can in order to tell your story. Here's one example of telling, not showing, from my client, September Dorman. September's the president of CEO Space, a business growth conference that Forbes.com called a must-attend for entrepreneurs. If you look at September's summary, you can see how specifics are peppered throughout. 25 years, Chief Operating Officer, Vice Chairman of the Board, $2 million. Rather than just pronouncing, September is an experienced CEO, these details, while very simple, show specifically why and how September is a successful CEO. The key to a good social media summary, bio or about section, is specifics, not generalities. Anytime you can use numbers or quantify your experience, do so. Number 3, brag, but don't exaggerate or lie. I don't want to seem like I'm bragging. I've heard this protest from more people than I can count over the years while helping them spiff up their social media profiles. And while I'm not in favor of fanning the flames of the braggadocious, when it comes to a social media bio, being bold about your achievements is a best practice. Notice I said be bold, not lie, make stuff up, exaggerate, or mislead. This is the time to say what you've done, who you've done it for, and the great results you've produced. To get this information, make a list of your achievements, including books or articles you have written, speeches you have given and for what organizations, radio, TV, or print media interviews you have given, relevant degrees, awards, or honors you possess, relevant projects you have been involved with, length of time you've been in business or doing your work, name recognition clients you can mention, national or international credentials or experience you possess, positions you have held, boards you have been a member of, special relevant skills, talents, or abilities you possess. With this information in hand, you can begin to craft a narrative for your social media bio that tells the story of who you are with the most impressive details possible. Check out the exercise file with this list and take some time to answer these questions yourself. Number 4, know your keywords. One way to use your social media bio to build your personal brand is to use keywords that identify your area of expertise. Remember that all social media profiles are searchable, and keywords let you be easily found by potential customers and members of the media. In fact, one report from the Indiana University School of Journalism found that over half of those reporters surveyed regularly use microblogs such as Twitter for developing stories, including finding additional information. If you're not certain what keywords you might include, surf the net over to one of your competitors' social media sites and see which ones they're using. Lastly, create several versions of your social media bio. Other than the LinkedIn summary, which allows for a whopping 2,000 characters, most of your social media bios will be short. So you'll need to have several versions of your social media bio at varying lengths. I recommend creating 3 versions in one document so you can cut and paste as needed. First, have a long version. This is an approximate 2,000 character bio that can be used for your LinkedIn summary and any other about sections on a website or online. Keep in mind that in many cases, the long-form bio has taken the place of a CV or resume. Next, have a short version. This is the pithy 150 to 160 character social media bio that you will use for Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, and other sites. Lastly, make sure you have a broadcast version. This is an approximate 75 to 100 word, not character, bio that can serve as an introduction before you give a speech or media interview. It can also serve as the bio at the end of a blog post. Just remember that long or short, your goal is to create a social media bio that's bold and not boring. LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook all allow a user to upload a customized background with specific images and information. A branded background is a visual version of your social media bio and a personal branding best practice. Instead of using the generic, boring, and unbranded background options social media sites provide, create your own. For about $75 to $150, a good graphic designer can take the standard social media site background template and customize it for you. Unfortunately, many people leave this space on the default setting offered by the social media site. Consider this plain Jane Twitter background of our founder of an architectural firm. The problem is that she's wasting all that online real estate space by not using it to brand herself. By contrast, take a look at the revised Twitter background of our architect, which a graphics person put together. The background real estate is being used to promote her brand. She's managed to get her logo, name, website, email, and books all included. In short, she's providing a brand at a glance with her background. Remember, the quick positive impression a background can make is essential since the average person spends only a short time on social media before deciding whether to stay or go. By having a customized background, you give your visitors a quick hit on your personal brand. For example, here is Kevin Layton, the CEO of Data Dynamics, an Inc. 5000 award winner and author of Building Your Digital Marketing Machine. To help Kevin establish a personal brand, I created a simple LinkedIn background that features his ebook, company, including logo, position, and even one of his favorite quotes. Branded backgrounds, regardless of which site they are for, should have a consistent look and feel with your overall brand and website. Conflicting backgrounds can weaken your personal brand and cause confusion. A few elements to consider when composing your customized background include your name, your website address, a headshot, different than your profile pic, photos of any books you have written, a favorite quote by you or someone else, your position or title, your company logo, colors consistent with your logo and or website, a model or diagram you use in your work. While you won't be able to fit all this information into one background, curating just the right content to get your message across will go a long way to establishing your personal brand on social media. Check out the exercise file with this information and consider the above items to plan what your ideal customized background might be. Bear in mind that there are background layout restrictions for each social media site. For the best results, I recommend working with a graphics person to create an effective background within the design limitations. Whether you're looking to find a job, hire an employee, reach out to potential clients, or just keep in contact with your network, LinkedIn is the big dog of business-to-business social media. In many ways, a LinkedIn profile has become the new resume. If you're not convinced, consider these statistics. 77% of LinkedIn members use the site to research people and companies, and 44% report an increase in networking effectiveness from using LinkedIn. Here's what this means to you. Imagine you're scheduled to attend an industry conference and you reach out to a potential customer who will be there as well. You set up a date to meet at the event. Your hopefully future customer is likely to give your LinkedIn profile a gander. Their online impression can have a powerful impact on your upcoming face-to-face meeting. Did you know that 65% of journalists have used LinkedIn for research? If you're looking to connect with reporters, being well-positioned as an expert in your field on LinkedIn is one way to get found and interviewed. And finally, 53% of B2B marketers have acquired a customer through LinkedIn. Think about it. If you're well-branded on LinkedIn for what you offer, there's a greater chance that a potential customer who is looking for what you do will find you. Hopefully, I've made the case for why having a LinkedIn profile makes good online social media branding sense. And the place to start is by becoming an all-star. If you look at the far upper right-hand side of your LinkedIn profile, you'll see a circle filled up with blue. Depending on how high the blue line goes determines your profile strength. In descending order, they are all-star, expert, advanced, intermediate, beginner. Take a moment and see where your blue line is located on your LinkedIn profile. To maximize your brand on LinkedIn, you want to achieve an all-star status level. While there's no hard and fast rule about how to achieve all-star, some of the basics necessary to get there include a current headshot, your current position, your 2 past positions, your education, a profile summary, and additional skills. Those are achievements and skills such as books written, projects, languages spoken, etc., and at least 4 recommendations. A current headshot. I covered this information in detail in another video, but it's so important that it bears a short review. By the way, LinkedIn profiles with photos are 11 times more likely to get viewed than those without a photo. The best headshots on LinkedIn are images where you're looking straight at the viewer. Remember to avoid a distracting background. Don't show a lot of jewelry or accessories, and don't have another person's face, arm, shoulder, hand, or other body part in your photo. In short, you want your profile picture on LinkedIn to represent your best business brand, whatever that might be. If you're a CFO of a Fortune 500 company, a jacket and tie might be in order. If you run a popular restaurant that caters to the stars, you might want to sport a hip shirt from the latest Los Angeles designer. The next place to focus in creating an all-star level profile is your current and past positions. Note that your LinkedIn header is immediately to the right of your headshot and shows your current position and previous position. If you have multiple positions showing, past or previous, they will appear on your header. For this reason alone, it's important to have your various companies and positions detailed. It gives viewers a quick look at your background right at the top of the profile. Remember, don't just list the names of the companies where you have worked. Take the time to write a few sentences to a paragraph about your role at each company and what you achieved and worked on. These types of specifics are an opportunity to give viewers additional information into your strengths and skills. Now that you have your current and previous positions in place, round out this part of your profile by adding your education, including where you attended school, dates you attended, descriptions of what you studied, and any awards or honors you received, or any special achievements while at school. If a poor profile pic is the mistake people make most often in their LinkedIn profile, a second close is a weak or non-existent summary statement. Think of this summary as the one-page business plan for your brand. It may be the only thing someone who lands on your page may read. Poorly written, incomplete, or just plain lame summaries can damage your credibility. Here's one I saw while surfing LinkedIn one day. It simply said, "Yes, I'm a freelancer who works for myself to help others with my skills." The point here is that while this person might be fabulous at what they do, I wouldn't give them a second glance given how ridiculously unprofessional their summary was. And I'd venture to guess that most people would be put off by this profile within seconds of seeing this summary. To be fair, most summaries aren't this bad, but the majority are insufficient. A good summary needs to do two things. It must be readable. Short paragraphs and bulleted lists help the reader glance through the information easily. Large blocks of text are too hard to read and almost always guarantee no one will get beyond the first few sentences. It should show an at-a-glance view of your achievements and accomplishments. While your summary should not be a laundry list of everything you've done your whole career, it should be more than just a generic report on who you are. In short, your summary is the place where specifics count. Numbers, names, and details are the stuff that great summaries are made of. The more you can paint the picture of who you are through what you've done, the better. In another video on creating a branded bio, I gave you a series of questions to ask yourself. You can use these same questions to help shape your LinkedIn summary. Here's a list of areas of achievement to consider. Remember to check out the exercise file to generate a list of these achievements for your LinkedIn summary. By putting these basic LinkedIn best practices in place, your online personal brand will be head and shoulders above most people. With the basics in place, you have two final steps to make your LinkedIn profile a personal branding work of art. To achieve all-star status on LinkedIn, you will need to post some recommendations on your profile. As to the number of recommendations you should have, I like my clients to have a minimum of 10, but at least 4. One note, a recommendation on LinkedIn is not the same as an endorsement. An endorsement is a simple one-click way your connections can endorse you for a specific skill, such as blogging, interior design, leadership, etc. You can't request an endorsement. Your connections just give it to you as they see fit. A recommendation, on the other hand, is a written statement from one of your connections. The recommendation feature requires you to request that a specific individual write something about you using the LinkedIn recommendation system. A recommendation carries more branding weight than an endorsement for several reasons. One, it's a written description, not just a word attribute. It takes more effort on the part of the person writing the recommendation. And lastly, it contains specific details about the work you have done. Remember these important things when asking for a recommendation. Make certain that you have chosen the correct job position you are asking the person to recommend you for, since the recommendation will show up only under that job title in your profile. Customize your request for a recommendation. I always think it's a good idea to thank the person for taking the time to recommend you and even give them some guidelines on what you might want them to say. Make sure they know your suggestions are just that. Let your connection know that they can tweak it any way they see fit or write something completely different. I find that since most people are time crunched these days, giving them some idea of what I would like them to say increases my response rate for recommendations. Take a few minutes and write a list of at least 4 people you want to request a recommendation from and what you might ask them to say. All of these fall under the little things count aspect of personal branding for social media. By implementing these seemingly small changes to your profile, you end up with a solid personal brand that is immediately observable to the person who lands on your LinkedIn. Lastly, to give your LinkedIn profile that final polish, be sure to take advantage of the professional headline space located just under your name. This is some of the most valuable real estate on LinkedIn and the place where you have the opportunity to make an immediate first impression on the people who view your profile. In many cases, people leave this section blank or offer only a few words about their current job or title. Instead, use the space given to create a brand at a glance and create a mini narrative of who you are, including keywords people might search for. One trick, Use a capital I to make a separation between different thoughts on the professional headline so as not to confuse the reader. By the way, don't feel bad if you haven't been using this space well. About 99% of the new clients I encounter, from CEOs to startup founders, are not using their professional headline space to its maximum advantage. Now that you know how you can become an all-star, take the information offered here and use it to brush up your LinkedIn profile. Remember, in a world where 74% of all internet users use social media, it's a certainty that someone someday or every day is going to check out your LinkedIn profile. Be ready to show your personal brand best when they do. If you think of Twitter as a 140-character chit-chat where the majority of people post about the tuna fish sandwich they had for lunch, you might want to broaden your perspective. Currently, Twitter is the second most popular social media site in the world, and it's a perfect place to promote your personal brand if you have an abundance of content or expertise that can easily be broken down into 140-character bits of information. Like all social media platforms, using Twitter effectively begins by understanding how you take advantage of it. When used strategically instead of in an unplanned manner, Twitter can be a boon for personal branding. Here are 9 ways you can use Twitter. First, you can build new relationships and generate leads from people who are looking for what you offer. In other words, your potential customers are hanging out on Twitter, and you can reach out and connect with them. You can expand your tribe of followers by connecting with people who are naturally interested in what you provide, teach, or represent. Twitter allows you to maintain relationships with your current clients and other people in your network. You can generate PR and media placement by connecting with and catching the attention of reporters seeking expert sources for their stories. You can also get noticed by and establish a relationship with the big players, leading thinkers, and experts in your field. Twitter allows you to shape your brand and sharpen your reputation as a thought leader. You can keep track of who is saying what about you in the Twitter universe, or Twitterverse as it's affectionately known. You can learn how to create a buzz around an upcoming live event, book release, product launch, or other business happening. And lastly, you can cross-promote your other media sites and content, including webinars, videocasts, podcasts, ebooks, blog posts, and more. Because of its popularity, roughly 86% of small businesses have a Twitter account set up, but only 25% tweet once a day. Translation? Most entrepreneurs and businesses don't know how to use Twitter in a way that's going to produce the best results for their brand. Let's start with 2 of the basics. Number 1, how often should you tweet? Various research on the ideal amount of times to tweet a day is all over the map. I've seen everything from tweet 3 times a day to tweet 30 times a day. However, all the experts agree that once a week, month, year, or decade doesn't cut it. In my experience, a small business or entrepreneur who tweets 3 to 5 times a day can steadily and sanely grow a Twitter following. Next, what time of day should you tweet? The best times to post seem to be Monday through Thursday, 1 to 3 p.m. The worst time is any day of the week after 8 p.m. and Fridays after 3. Okay, those are the basics. Now here's how you can specifically use Twitter to generate more buzz for your brand. As you have no doubt gathered by this point in the program, I'm a big fan of branded backgrounds, and Twitter is no exception. Consider this generic Twitter background of a very successful businesswoman. You wouldn't guess she runs a multi-million-dollar business by her Twitter background, would you? It's just a blank, no-branded blue screen. She's not using the real estate provided to build her brand. Now compare it with her fully fleshed-out Twitter background. A few things to note about what makes an effective Twitter background. It utilizes the colors and logos from her website to create brand consistency. It also provides contact information such as a website, blog URL, and email. While visitors can't click through live to those sites, it does give visitors the information they need to contact her up front. An effective Twitter background generates instant credibility for your business, book, or product. In this case, it shows a series of book covers from traditionally published books Crystal has written over the years. A spiffy Twitter background can be created by any good graphic designer and should cost you no more than $100 to have designed and uploaded. Your next step on the path to Twitter greatness is to write your short 160-character profile. This is your brand-at-a-glance opportunity on Twitter. 5 of the key items to consider in writing your profile include: who are you professionally? Who are you personally? What keywords describe you? Use your real name so you can be found, and list your primary website. You'll notice at the beginning of the profile some of her professional accomplishments using keywords were mentioned. Then at the end, some of the things done for fun are highlighted. That's the personal part. There is a website link, and Crystal has used her real name. By using your real name, people who are doing a Google search for your Twitter account can more easily find you. This may sound obvious, but it's a common mistake for people to use a name other than their real one on Twitter. In the event that you have one of those names that are shared by 12,000 other people, you may have to get creative and add a dash between your first and last name, add a number onto the end of your name, add your middle name, use your first initial and other iterations of your given name, etc. Following these simple tips will set you up for Twitter success. Now that you have your Twitter background and profile rocking, you're ready to begin tweeting. But before you hit post, consider these best practice guidelines. Use the 90-10 rule of content. 90% of your tweets should be content-driven and only 10% promotional. This means that 9 out of 10 of your tweets should provide valuable information, content, opinions, and ideas to your audience, and only 1 out of 10 should be asking them to buy something. You should mix up your tweets. A healthy, robust combination of tips, questions, comments, opinions, as well as links to other websites, blogs, articles, audio, and video, make for a healthy, happy Twitter account. Take a minute and consult the exercise file to write out 1 tweet for each of the above types that you could use for your Twitter stream. Also try adding images. As with most social media today, images generate engagement. Tweets with images result in a 36% increase in clicks, a 41% increase in retweets, and a 55% increase in leads. Here's a hot tip. To keep your links from using up too much Twitter space, use a free service such as bit.ly.com to shorten longer links. Once you have the basics in place, your most valuable asset on Twitter is the information you provide. It will often be the deciding factor as to whether someone does or does not follow you. If you're still a bit stuck on what to tweet, try my Sweet Tweet method. S stands for stuff you are reading, watching, and listening to. If you've got videos, books, blogs, and podcasts that intrigue you, go ahead and tweet the URL. W stands for words of wisdom. These include quotes, retweets from others, content you found useful, interesting, or inspiring on another's blog or YouTube channel. E is for expressive. These are ideas, opinions, feelings, attitudes, raves, pet peeves, etc. that you want your audience to know about. One warning, think before you tweet. It's all too easy to whip out 140 characters, but if it's not on target with your brand or even harmful to it, don't post. Every tweet needs to build your personal brand and reputation. The other E is for educational. This is how-to content and information, especially from your area of expertise. These can include tweets from your books, articles, blogs, and anything else that's helpful or how-to. And T is for timely. What's going on in the world at large, especially in the space that you inhabit? Are there newsworthy items, surveys, or polls that you can tweet about? With Twitter up and running, you're ready to expand your reach by connecting with key influencers. An influencer is an individual or company who carries weight in your industry. They can impact purchase decisions and/or provide you with credibility. When a big dog in your industry tweets you, or even better, follows you on Twitter, their credibility rubs off on you. Lastly, an influencer is someone who has the potential to send you traffic. A few places to find some of these folks include popular bloggers in your space who also have Twitter accounts. They might be known leaders in your field, such as authors and speakers, or they may be the most popular tweeters in your field of expertise. To learn more about how to locate these titans of Twitter, check out the Twitter Essentials training course. Once you know whom on Twitter you want to connect with, the next step is to reach out to them. Here are a few key ways to do that. The first is to simply follow them. Even the big players in the field frequently look to see who has followed them and sometimes follow back. Give the influencer a compliment, comment, tweet, or a simple hello by doing the ampersand sign followed by their name. This will deliver the tweet to them. Send a direct message. Please note that you can only send a direct message to another Twitter member whom you are following and who is already following you back. You can also try retweeting them. Many big players pay close attention to who is retweeting them and how often. Finally, keep in mind that Twitter, like most social media, runs a great deal on search. This means that your potential followers are often looking for who is playing in the space they're interested in by searching for keywords. Bear this in mind when you're composing your tweets. When appropriate, put in keywords that you know reflect your business, product, book, or brand, and that your audience is likely to be searching for. In addition, you can sparingly use hashtags to highlight your keywords. Use the hashtag or pound symbol before a relevant keyword or phrase with no spaces in between. This will categorize those tweets and help them show up more easily in a Twitter search for that particular keyword or phrase. The great thing about Twitter is that it functions as a microblogging site. In other words, if you invest just a few minutes a day posting content, over time, the smart and strategic use of Twitter will help you build your personal brand with your targeted audience. In some ways, Facebook is the perfect place for personal branding. You can post pictures, videos, opinions, likes and dislikes, and other highly curated content that shows off who you are and what you stand for. Currently, it's the #1 social networking site with more than 1 million small businesses spending $100 million a year on Facebook advertising. It's considered one of the best places for business-to-consumer, B2C, branding. Even if you don't think Facebook would be a boon to your business brand, almost everyone can benefit from having a personal Facebook page. I highly recommend creating a personal Facebook page that you invite your personal circle of friends to join, and a separate company Facebook page for clients and business associates. One warning, because Facebook is such a social media platform, people can tend to get a little loose with how they use it. This is a personal branding mistake. For example, for a while I treated my Facebook page as a come one, come all proposition. If someone reached out to me, I just friended them with no thought. That was until I started getting some pretty weird comments on my wall. I'll spare you the creepy details, but suffice it to say that I hit the unfriend button quite a bit after that and was way more selective about whom I chose to connect with. In addition to curating your Facebook friends more carefully, you can adjust your privacy settings to filter the information available to the general public versus your friends. Oh, and while you're at it, you may want to turn off the tagging option for photos. This way, no pics of you partying end up with your name attached. For specific information on how to make these adjustments, check out the Up and Running with Facebook course. Remember, your personal brand on Facebook is as much a matter of who is in your circle as what you choose to post. The goal should be to build a strong network of like-minded individuals with whom you would feel comfortable sharing a mix of personal and professional information. With these cautions in place, there are some Facebook basics that can help your personal brand stand out from the crowd. To start, Facebook allows you to generate a vanity URL that acts as a personalized domain on Facebook. This means that your Facebook location can be fully branded with your name. Next up, Facebook allows you to create a customized background that shows your brand in its best light. There are 2 specific ways to build credibility with your background. First, make it consistent in look and message with your website. Many people have a Facebook background that bears no relationship to the visual messaging of their main site. In fact, I've seen some really wacky backgrounds in an attempt to be clever, cute, and funny. Unless your personal brand is crazy comedian, skip the crafty and go for consistent. You'll notice how this Facebook background utilizes the logos, colors, and even headshot from Crystal's website page. Second, highlight your main services. Depending on what your brand is best known for, it's a best practice to use part of the background space to show off what you offer, including a diagram or model that you use in your business. For example, here's the Marketing Mastery Pyramid I created and use with my clients. A quote, a list of services, a photo of your book cover, if you have written one. Lastly, Facebook gives you a lot of space to talk about who you are. Keeping your personal brand strategy in mind, complete your Facebook profile with information on your educational background and work experience. The About You section is where you can put your branded biography and go into greater depth about who you are and what your personal brand stands for. Facebook Pages for Business also allow you to customize the tabs at the top of the page so that visitors can click through to additional information. Use this space wisely to offer some type of lead capture. Lead capture is essentially your way of saying, I'll provide you with something of value in exchange for your contact information. Lead captures might include a free webinar or teleseminar, a podcast, a quiz, a white paper or article, or an ebook. Just by creating a customized background and tabs on your Facebook page establishes a more powerful personal brand on the site. Having your Facebook best practices in place provides an excellent foundation for using the site for more advanced personal brand building. With the basics in place, one of the best personal branding uses of Facebook is to use it to promote a virtual event. One note, you can only host a virtual event on a Facebook business page, not a personal one. While the cost of putting on a live event can be prohibitive, virtual events pack a lot of punch for a small budget. According to recent research, 70% of marketers who've already hosted one plan to host more, and 39% of those who've hosted a virtual event believe they generated more leads than in-person events. Hosting a virtual event on Facebook is a fairly simple three-step process. Before the event, you should fill out the new event form. This is where you put the relevant information about your event, including date, time, location, description, etc. Then, build buzz for the event with your email list, promote the event on other social media, place event info on your email signature line, and offer a prize to share the event URL. Here's a hot tip. Write up a series of posts about your event and pay a nominal amount to make it a promoted post. Only 16% of your fans see a given update from your business, so you may want to expand your reach through a promoted post. You also have the option of paying a small fee to boost your page. This is an excellent way to get newcomers to your event. During the event, make sure you do the following things. Keep people engaged by posting useful information every 3 to 5 minutes. Give away free services and products in exchange for viewers' emails. Do a Q&A session as part of the event. After the event, you'll want to do the following. Create a list of tweets attendees can post after the event. Follow up with additional content, such as a webinar, ebook, teleclass, etc. And finally, reach out on social media to follow up post-event. Finally, to get the most out of building your personal brand on Facebook, let your personal brand story unfold update by update. Posting consistent, high-quality content that is on brand will help strengthen your relationship with your existing audience and expand your reach to new connections. Mixing up the types of posts you place will keep your followers engaged. Some of the posts you might consider placing include quotes, questions, tips, images with captions, an opinion on a timely topic, and a URL connection to relevant article or blog posts, videos, surveys and polls, a story, albeit a short one, or a call to action. Just remember that variety is the spice of life, online and off. A popular social media site, Pinterest has 47.1 million users in the U.S. alone who spend an average of 14.2 minutes per visits on the site. A full 45% of Pinterest users live outside the United States, and the site users are 85% women between the ages of 25 to 54. What does all this mean? It means that if you have a business, book, or product that is perfect for this demographic, Pinterest is a good place for you to be. As with the other social media sites, your personal branding best on Pinterest begins with how you fashion your profile. There are 3 important steps. First, make the about count. Pinterest allows for a mere 160 characters to describe yourself or your business, so make them count. Since these are the details that someone sees when they visit your profile page, aim for information that lets the viewer get an at-a-glance look at who you are, what you offer, and why they should care, including the basic elevator speech about who you are, what you are passionate about pinning, and your blog or website URL. Keep in mind that to strengthen your brand, you should maintain a consistent message across all your social media platforms. This means that a similar description should show up on Pinterest, Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn, and any other places on the internet where you publicly declare your brand. Lastly, be sure to weave your most important keywords into your About description, since this section gets indexed by the search engines and brings visitors who are looking for a specific keyword to the site itself. By the way, you'll need to decide at the beginning if you want to create your Pinterest account as an individual, your name, or a business, your company name. Be sure to add your location. One advantage of this is that potential customers looking for a local resource will be able to see that you're geographically desirable. Also, add your Facebook and Twitter accounts. The Pinterest settings allow you to link your Facebook and Twitter accounts so that visitors can click through to those sites. Doing so gives visitors another way to check out your brand and engage with you. With the basics in place, you're ready to begin creating some Pinterest boards. What boards could you create that will resonate with your audience? What are their interests and concerns? There are 5 types of boards to consider. The first is the how-to or educational board. What learning can you offer based on your business, book, or product? Boards that are how-to or informational do extremely well on Pinterest. So if you have access to content, video, or print that can educate, inform, teach, or transfer some kind of knowledge to your audience, by all means, create a board around it. There are also FAQ boards. You know the types of questions your clients are always asking you, and you know the ones they should be asking. Create a board featuring these questions and use them as a place to send curious clients. Makeover before and after boards. If your brand lends itself to visually showcasing before and after images, this board is for you. Personal brands that can take the best advantage of this include makeup artists, hairstylists, wardrobe consultants, interior designers, architects, plastic surgeons, cosmetic dentists, and home office organizers, just to name a few. Even coaches and consultants can use this board by creating pins that showcase impressive outcomes, such as an increase in sales or web traffic that resulted from their intervention. Holiday boards. Users are always searching for fun things to pin at the holidays, including things to wear, eat, create, do, and buy. Holiday boards allow you to capture some of this traffic and increase exposure for your brand by pinning relevant and timely images. Lastly, think about creating boards for ebooks, articles, and blogs you have written. Most brands are built around a particular expertise. A great way to share yours is to create boards that relate to content you have written. The cover of your ebook or photo from your blog post can be a good image to pin. Be sure to link the image to the page on your website where the ebook or blog post can be downloaded and read. These boards are just a starting point in the limitless possibilities on Pinterest. Take a few minutes to check out the exercise file and brainstorm some boards that would work for your brand. Remember, Pinterest is a visual social media site, so the quality of pictures that you post are ultimately what will drive your personal brand on the site. With your Pinterest boards in place, the next step in building your personal brand on the site is to curate your pins. Before I get into the different types of pins to consider, it's important to understand pin content composition. In general, your pins should be divided up into 4 categories. 40% of your pins should be motivational, 40% should be instructional, 10% should be about your service and product, and 10% about your brand in general. This means that 20% or less of your pins are about promoting your business, and the other 80% are meant to inspire, motivate, uplift, and educate. Pins that show people how to be happier, healthier, or richer are the most popular. To build your personal brand, consider the following types of pins. Quotes. These can be quotes you've repinned from other pinners, quotes you found other places, or even quotes that you craft yourself. Next is educational content. This type of pin teaches your audience something they want to know. Another type of pin is infographics. An infographic is a visual image such as a chart or diagram used to represent information or data. You can take almost any content you have and turn it into an infographic. Consider pins that take people behind the scenes. People love seeing pins that show the process of how things are created, put together, developed, or designed. Last are pins about personal passion. Pinterest is all about giving your followers an insight into what you find interesting and inspiring. Pins which highlight your passions add a personal dimension to your brand. In my case, I'm crazy about fashion and food, so I have boards and pins that reflect those topics. Even though they have nothing to do with my profession as a branding and marketing strategist, they give the visitor an insight into who I am personally. The right boards, beautifully named, won't do you much good if they aren't housing winning pins, and not all pins are created equal. Just posting any old photo or video won't get visitors to follow your boards or find out more about your personal brand. In general, you want to answer these 4 questions about any pin you put up. 1. Is it appropriate? Be sure to think before you pin anything that might embarrass you or violate another's privacy or a copyright. A good guideline: if you wouldn't want the image or information to appear on the front page of the New York Times, then it doesn't belong on Pinterest. Number 2, is it interesting, cute, unique, beautiful, educational, and/or funny? The only thing a visitor to your Pinterest account may use to determine whether they want to stay is their first glance at the pictures you post. Anyone who has ever read a Match.com profile knows that certain attributes are highly desirable in a potential date. The same goes for Pinterest pins. Pins that are interesting, funny, cute, beautiful, or unique stand a better chance of getting repinned and asked out on a second date. If visitors aren't intrigued enough by the image to go further, they may never get to your bio, click through to your website, or even read the description of the pin. Is your pin on brand, message, and target? A high-end cosmetic dentist's Pinterest boards probably won't feature photos of cute little bunnies lying in the sun, but a veterinarian's site just might. Whatever images you end up pinning, they won't move your marketing forward if they aren't congruent with your brand and on message, and on target for your audience. And number 4, does the pin tell a story with feeling? A picture is worth 1,000 words. Photos that evoke a strong emotion, tell a story, or communicate a clear message make great pins. One way to evaluate whether your image has the right stuff is to think of a single word that expresses the idea, meaning, story, or message you're looking to convey, then take that word and find images to match. Pinterest, like any other social media site, is not an if you build it they will come phenomenon. To build a bigger audience for your personal brand on Pinterest, try the following. First, build specialized boards. The most successful players on Pinterest have between 50 and 100 boards on average. They have also gone to great efforts to make their boards as niched as possible. For example, if you're a cookbook writer, a single board named Desserts would work, but you might draw more followers if you took the same board and split it into 4. Pies and cakes, cookies and bars, chocolate, ice cream, sorbets, and puddings. By refining your boards to be more relevant to the people who are the most interested in those specific topics, you increase your chances of getting followers. Next, try trending topics. People, places, and events that are popular at the moment make great bait for finding new followers. Topics that are trending will get keywords searched on the site, and if you have a pin that fits, you stand a good chance of picking up some of that traffic. Reachly.com says that pins related to trending topics see an average 94% increase in click-throughs. A third idea is to follow popular pinners. By following the Pinterest accounts of the power players in your field, you increase the chances that they will follow you back, repin you, like you, and comment on your images. Use keywords. Paying attention to keywords is a significant part of pinning. The more on target you are with keywords that you use in your boards and pin descriptions, the more likely you are to draw followers searching for and interested in those topics. And finally, add Pinterest to your email signature line. You have the opportunity with every email you send to promote your Pinterest and gain followers. Simply add the dedicated URL of your Pinterest to the end of your signature line where the links to your other social media, website, Twitter, Pinterest, LinkedIn, etc. live, and allow people to follow you with a single click. There's no doubt that we are smack dab in the middle of a revolution in the visual web. Images are all the rage for the foreseeable future. Pinterest is an easy, fun, and fast way for you to translate your personal brand into pictures that speak volumes about who you are. The ultimate in personal branding is becoming a thought leader. Thought leaders are the go-to people in their fields, trusted authorities who serve as a resource for information, innovation, and impact in their area of expertise. Many of the business people I've encountered boldly tell me, "I want to be a thought leader." The problem is that you can't just declare yourself a thought leader. In order to be one, you need to rise to a level of expertise or excellence that results in people seeking you out as a recognized authority. Thought leaders generally do three things to raise their personal brand to this level. First off, they advance their field. While thought leaders have an in-depth knowledge of their area of expertise, they don't stop with what they already know. They go beyond reporting on what's happening and take it a step further to add something new to their field through practical observation, surveys, clinical research, and deep thinking. Next, they speak for their industry. Thought leaders are the go-to source for media and are often quoted in articles, interviewed by reporters, asked to write guest blog posts, speak at industry conferences, and represent their field on radio and television. Lastly, thought leaders generate a lot of high-quality content. They then take what they have learned and create traditionally published books, ebooks, blogs, articles, podcasts, webinars, videos, online products, and much, much more. Finally, once published, they consistently promote this content on social media. Thought leaders always have a major content marketing strategy in place that shows their value, knowledge, and expertise. If becoming a thought leader is indeed one of your goals, take a few minutes to think through how you might begin to position yourself and check out the exercise file for some key questions. In addition, go to this website, www.karenleland.com, and take the free short quiz to determine what your specific next steps are in becoming a thought leader. Even if it's not your goal to become a thought leader, building your personal brand online is a smart idea and a survival skill in our digital world. This course has given advice on creating a consistent online personal brand on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, and other sites that position you for maximum effectiveness in your company, career, and industry. Over the next few weeks, examine your social media platforms one at a time and take the actions suggested for each one. There are some other courses that delve more deeply into using social media platforms that I've covered. So check out the playlist with this course for additional resources. Thank you for joining me. And to borrow from the famous quote, stay calm and brand on.